views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Open 2.0. I'm your host, Damien. On this edition of Open 2.0, we will be discussing life experiences with Judy Torres. After facing many struggles from a difficult childhood to financial issues and a depression, she's now starring in her one-woman show called No Reason to Cry. Joining us here is Judy Torres, Queen of Freestyle. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Also with us today, we have my co-hosts, Nashe and Charlotte. Thank you guys.
Hello. Hello.
So, first I'd like to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to start with you kind of growing up in the neighborhood in the Bronx,
Mm-hmm.
you know, kind of just getting a feel. You really started with the freestyle movement, and it was a different type of music genre for
That's right.
us and the culture and for Latinos and all of everyone here, really. I know my family growing up had loved you and loved the freestyle. My mom actually met you at a KTU event. I think it was a screening for Charlie's Angels.
Okay.
So when I told her I was going to be able to interview you, she was super
Yeah.
jealous. So I know all of us here are very thankful for the impact that you've had. I want to ask you, how was it kind of being in that movement and kind of creating something?
Okay. Well, first, thank you for having me. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate that. And then second, thank you for helping me feel special and old at the same time. So, you know, people come up to me all the time, oh, you know, my mom, my grandmother loves you. What about you? Do you love me? But okay, so back to your question. What was it like during that freestyle genre? So when freestyle first came out, freestyle was a new type of music and no one really ever heard about it before. They really didn't even know what to call it. And so at first they called it Latin hip hop, you know. The reason why freestyle is so significant today is because it's a style of music that became a phenomenon among all the cities in the country, and it was born and raised here in the Bronx. People didn't know what to call it, people don't know how to react, and just as freestyle was building to its height and people started getting signed to major record labels and we started getting our songs on the radio, all of a sudden it just stopped. And so I say it all the time on stage, you know, freestyle music never won a Grammy or anything like that, but freestyle music is important to your mom and to the culture, especially here in the Bronx, because it was music that we started, it was music that we invented, it was music that we created, and it really became kind of almost like a cult-like following, and that's what's different compared to the other genres of music.
Of course.
So it was a great, to answer your question, it was great. It's great, it feels amazing, it feels special, and I'm just glad I'm part of it.
Of course. Growing through the culture with freestyle, was there any time that people were trying to tell you that, oh, you're not gonna be able to make it, or you're not gonna do this, and really try to put you down?
I was told by more people that I wasn't gonna make it than people that I would succeed. I think the only people that were telling me I was going to succeed probably back then was like my mom, you know. And we think, oh, that doesn't matter because that's mom, that's your parents. They're going to tell you the right thing. They're always going to say you're beautiful and you're perfect. But what do the people really think, you know? So it was really hard. A lot of people told me no. I was told two things when I first started in the business. The first thing I was told was, no label's going to sign you if you're overweight. You're not going to get signed. The second thing they tried to do when I first started was they tried to change my name. They told me I couldn't use Torres as my last name. They said I had to use something that was culturally androgynous. So for example, I'll give you an example. So one of the freestyle artists, her name is Cynthia.
Okay.
You know, her last name is Torres too, but she dropped the Torres, it's Cynthia. Or you have a girl, for example, called Sapphire. You can't tell when you hear Sapphire, what is she?
Right.
Yeah.
So they wanted things like that people couldn't really tell, but because I had been bullied in school, I wanted people to know that when I made it, they heard my name. I want them to know it was me. So I refused to drop my name. I'm like, no, that's my name, Judy Torres. And if I pay a price for that, I pay a price for that. Today, you hear all sorts of names, and you could tell different cultures when you hear an artist's name on the radio. You know, now you hear Selena Gomez, Christina Aguilera, Jennifer Lopez. The Spanish names are thrown all over the place. But back then, it wasn't cool to do that. So I like the fact that it has evolved and it's more acceptable to be who you are and call yourself whatever you want to call yourself.
Of course, and it's amazing that you stuck to your roots and didn't really let anyone change you or tell you to change.
No.
What really pushed you through everything, like all the negativity behind people telling you that you're not going to be able to do this and stuff? What really was the motivating drive that pushed you through it?
I was getting angry. I was getting angry. Why is everyone telling me what I can't do?
Right.
Why is everyone saying I'm not going to get how could you say I'm not going to get signed to a record label? How do you know? What do you know about me? I was getting angry. And I just finally got to a point that said, you know what? Watch me. That was my attitude. Watch me. One thing to this day, and trust me when I tell you, you will hear a million no's before you get one yes. Everyone will tell you how you can't do it and why you can't do it, and it sounds outrageous and it sounds stupid. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what do I want? What's my intention? What am I trying to do this for? And if you know you're doing it for the right reasons and you want to do it, do it. I can't stand when someone tells me I can't do something. You tell me I can't do something, the next day I'm looking to find out how can I do it? How can I do it? Because I'm going to show you wrong. And I think that's really important. If you learn that now, at your age, by the time you get to wherever you want to get, that won't even faze you.
Of course.
You know.
We'd also like to congratulate you on your new one-woman show.
Thank you.
Musical, No Reason to Cry. Going into the musical and everything behind it, how did it kind of come around that you were like, hey, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. Let's put this together.
Well, I started watching. I went to see John Leguizamo in Ghetto Clown. I saw him in Latin History for Morons. I've basically seen a lot of his one-man shows, and there's also a woman named Ellen Marsh. She's in the Broadway show Kinky Boots. She has a lot of one-woman shows, and I started going to see these shows, and I was like, wow, I really love that. And my best friend, who is also my executive producer, David Miskin, he turned to me during one of the one-woman shows, and he said, tell me you can't do that. And I said, I know. I want to, but he was like, well, why won't you do it? And I thought about it, and why won't I do it? So I took out my laptop, and I said, okay, that's it, I'm gonna write it. And then that blank screen, there's something about the blank screen that's real intimidating. And so I was like, why am I stuck? Why can't I do this? And I realized I was just afraid. You know? But I wanted to tell my story. I felt like I got to a point where I wanted people to know not just what I had been through, but that you can come out on the other side victorious, you know? I thought that was really important, and so I had to enlist help, so I got a life coach to help me out, and she basically showed me that I was afraid. The one thing that I was saying, I'm not afraid, I was terrified. But once I did it, wow, it's a great feeling.
That's amazing. We'll continue. We actually have to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more Open 2.0.
Welcome back to Open 2.0. We are continuing our conversation with Judy Torres, Queen of Freestyle.
It's so good for you to be here in 2.0 because, like, you're inspirational to people of color and also Latinos for their backgrounds, because some people wants to be in the music business but doesn't have the courage to because they believe they will never get in, or the other people who's in the music business will knock them down forward. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You said before that you were in a show, one woman show, that it was hard for you to write your own script. How would you like to tell us how it was hard for you to produce your own show?
Sure. Well, at first it was really difficult. Like, what am I going to say? You know, how do I start this? And then when you start it, how do you end it? You know, but I started to just look at. You could look at your life if you opened up a book. You know, there's chapters in your book. There's chapters in your story, and so I started to think about those particular chapters, and I just wanted to tell my story. I just wanted to tell people something that they could relate to. I especially wanted to give the message that life gets real hard and you want to quit. You want to quit. Oh my God, you want to quit so bad. But it gets better. And just when you think it's not going to, right past there, that's when it gets better.
Was it intimidating for you as an artist, a new upcoming artist, to be against other Latinos or other artists who already made it to the top?
Well, it was intimidating because it makes you face your own fears. I never saw myself as against the other artists because I think the worst thing that you can do is compare yourself to other people. It's normal, we all do it. Oh, she's thinner, she's taller, sorry, you're a guy, but that's what we girls do. But, you know, it's always easy to compare yourself to other people, but the most important thing is that you have to be the best version of yourself. So it was intimidating because deep down, I didn't believe in myself in the beginning. I wanted it, but I didn't believe it, you know? And so I think it's really important to just ask yourself, you know, I'm very big about intention. What's your intention? You know, I want to be connected with people. I want to entertain people. I want to make people feel better. As long as I stay to that intention, then the fear kind of goes away. It's a little easier. But it's very intimidating because you're literally under a microscope. Yeah. You have the big spotlight on you. And especially when I step onto the stage for the one-woman show for No Reason to Cry, I'm by myself. If I forget a line, who's going to help me? You know, if I'm tired, I can't sit down. If I'm sick, I can't call out. It's a one-woman show. So that part is very intimidating, but I love it.
Do you have any your favorite songs from being on a one-woman show, No Reason to Cry? Or, like, do you have anyone in mind who helped you along the way to become what you are today?
Definitely my mom is my hero. You know, I grew up with a lot of domestic violence in my family, and watching my mom suffer but then fight back was incredibly inspiring, and it made me realize that at any point in your life you can change your mind. At any point in your life you can say, you know what, this isn't working, I don't like this doesn't feel good to me, I'm out. And so, you know, for that I love my mom. As far as the songs in the show, every song I sing in the show reminds me of a part of my life. It's sort of like all the music you listen to now will be the soundtrack of your life. When you hear a song, it automatically, you go, oh, remember that day I was hanging out with my friends and we were laughing? So as you start to mature and you get older, certain songs are automatically gonna bring you back. And so a lot of the music that I use in the show are those things that brought me back to either that moment or that time in my life. As far as favorites, my song Faithfully is one of my favorites because it's probably the only song that I recorded that I felt 100% great about. I felt like I hit it, I nailed it. There's always a song I go, oh, why did I sing it like that? Or why did I do it like that? And then there's a song called Don't Rain on My Parade. It's by Barbra Streisand from the show Funny Girl. That one is really important to me because that's, in the show, that's the moment that I make a decision that I'm not gonna give up. Because in the show, something really tragic happens. Basically, I'm performing and I had a big wardrobe malfunction. My whole top fell right off and I couldn't wear a bra because the back was open and everyone saw, and I was devastated. And when it happened to me, I was only 19. And so I wanted to quit. And I was like, I can't take it. It's too much drama. It's too hard. Everyone was laughing at me. I was embarrassed. And I used that song in my mind to tell myself, no, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going.
That's truly amazing. You had also mentioned before earlier seeing John Leguizamo's one-man show. Going to see that and then really putting that together with your show, did you take any pieces and parts from seeing his show and putting them in your own show? Or
The biggest thing that I learned from watching John Leguizamo and his one-man show to perform in my own show is, like, if I see him, I'll probably bow. Because it is incredibly, it's the first time in my life I've had to stay so focused for a long time. The show was 2 hours with an intermission for 15 minutes. So it's an hour and then 15-minute break and another hour. And it's just nonstop. You have to stay so focused, not just telling my story. I'm singing, I'm acting it out. I'm talking, I'm yelling, I'm crying, I'm angry. It's just, you feel every single emotion. And so when you watch John Leguizamo, he makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
And he's funny. And he's all over the place. And you're like, well, I want to do that. And then when we started to rehearse, I said, oh my God, this is crazy. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But after doing it, I'm so grateful. I'm happy to say I'm not as good as John, but I'm pretty damn good. I'm close to it.
That's
so I like it, yeah.
Thank you.
You talked about your family has been in domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
How do you push through that and making it so big in the world and making people change their lives for the better?
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, it was really terrifying. My father and my stepfather were both abusive to my mom. And so 2 different situations, 2 different reasons, but the abuse was the same. It looks the same. And you learn that there's a culture of it that you are taught to keep quiet. Don't talk about it, you know. And as a child, because this went on until I was about 14, 15, as a child, you have no power. As a child, you have to do what your parents say.
Yeah.
You have to go where your parents go. You're literally a witness to all of it, and you have no say. That's horrible. That's a horrible, powerless, fearful place to be, and that's part of the reason why depression started to ensue in my life. But, and there's always a but, as you get older, you become empowered. As you get older, you do have power. As you get older, you do have a choice. And so I made a very conscious decision early on that no man was ever going to touch me, ever. And you pass that on. You know, we learn what we watch our parents do, whether we want to or not. That's just inevitable. Yeah. But as you get older, you're responsible for your life. It could be someone's fault that they mistreated you. It's someone's fault that they hurt you. But you can't go on the rest of your life blaming other people.
Yeah.
So at some point you have to be responsible for yourself and your own happiness, and you have to say, you know what? I'm just not going to let that happen to me, or I'm not going to become that person. I want to be better than that because I think I am better than that. I think I deserve better than that.
So you said you've gone through depression. How do you, so it has a lot more people in also New York who's going through depression right now. It has a lot of things going on, like politics or in their own lives. What can you say to them that will help them to step forward and forget about those bad times and make them more progressive in life?
I think there are 2 types of depression. Well, there's a lot of types of depression, but for me, I think there are 2 types of depression. I think one of them is chemical. Sometimes your brain chemistry is a little off and you're not producing those hormones that make you happy. And I think the other side of depression, I think it's anger turned inside out. I think it's unspoken things. The more you keep in, the more you don't tell, the more you don't talk about your feelings, the worse the depression gets. You're angry at someone, you know, or you don't want to lash out at them, you don't want to be mean to them, so you hold it in. And what happens is you turn it in towards yourself, and you start to hate yourself. So I think, number 1, talking about it is most important. And then number two, getting help for it is most important,
That's, I completely agree with you. We have to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more Open 2.0.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back to Open 2.0.
We are continuing our conversation with Judy Torres, star of the one-woman show No Reason to Cry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
First and foremost, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, for people who wanted to get into the music industry and actually become an artist, what would be your advice to them of how to jump into the music industry?
Okay. Well, the music industry has changed a lot since when I first started, Back when I first started, the most important thing was to get people to see you. There was no social media back then. There were no computer, there was no internet, there weren't cell phones, there weren't, it was different. You really had to hustle. You had to go on the street physically and get in clubs, and then you prayed to God that somebody was in the audience who knew somebody or who was part of the record industry, and they would sign you, and that's, how you did it. Today, you guys have it made. You've got social media, you've got the internet, you've got YouTube. The first thing I would say is know who you are as an artist. What do you want to do specifically? Be real specific about it. Don't say, I just want to sing. What do you want to sing? What do you want to sing about? Who are you that separates you from everyone else? Because that's what the industry is looking for. They're looking for something and someone different, So how do you stand out? How do you answer that question? You have to know yourself. What makes you different than other people? What do you think makes you different? Once you know who you are, also know that the industry is looking for people who are already sort of self-made. So in other words, years ago, people would write songs for you, and they would take you shopping and buy clothes for you. Now they want to know that you've got an album written. You produce your own stuff, you write your own stuff. That's important to labels because it's less money that they have to spend to help you become who you want to be. The third thing I would say is social media is very important. Right. Years ago, they would say, what was your best song? What was your biggest hit? Did it reach #1 on the Billboard charts? Now they're saying, how many followers do you have? How many likes do you have? How long are they watching your videos for? That's the most important thing. So statistically, social media, YouTube channel, just put yourself out there. Sing everything you can think of, record everything you can think of. Make sure that you don't want to take it back, because once it's out there forever. So be really conscious of what you're posting on social media, even when you're not posting something about music. People are looking at you as a person. Who are you as a person? If you know you're going to regret it, if you think, for example, your mother or your father are going to go, don't do it. That's a sign. That's a sign that it's not good. Basically, just be true to yourself and fight for what you want and who you are. And it sounds so nerdy and the worst thing I could say, but it's true. Stay away from drugs. It's just true. Look at all the people that have been ruined by it.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. If you want to sing, this is your moneymaker. Your voice is your moneymaker. Use your voice wisely and don't mess it up. And drugs mess up your voice. That's just the bottom line. And they mess up your ability to decide things for yourself. And if you, also, don't surround yourself with yes people. In this business, you'll have a lot of a posse. Oh my God, yes, because they want something from you, because they're going to get something from you. You don't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that someone keeps you grounded, that someone says, girl, I'm sorry, I know you like that shirt, but that's not working for you today. You know, something like that. You need that around you so you stay grounded. It's important not to let things go to your head.
Do you think that back when you were coming up and in the industry, if social media was around and as fluent and popular as it is now, do you think that things would have been different, or what do you think would have been different or would have changed?
There's a part of me that's envious of you that you have social media, you know, that you had social media before I did. But you know, everything happens for a reason. I'm sure it would have been different, but maybe it wouldn't have been what I think it's going to be. You know, I'm a firm believer in the concept that there's no such thing as accidents. So when I came up into this business, it wasn't meant for me to have social media. I have social media now, but I definitely have a better understanding of who I am. So when I post, I'm not afraid to post. I don't, so far, thank you God, I haven't posted anything inappropriate that I can think of. But I love it. It's a great way to connect with people. And I think it would have been different, but I'm happy with the way things turned out now.
Have anyone tried to come into your life and try to mess you up in any way possible to make you downgrade yourself in music?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know that they did it on purpose, but they were, just like you have friends. You have really cool friends that you love, and you always have that one friend that's kind of like negative, or they want to do something you don't really want to do. It's kind of that way, and that's why I said earlier that it's really important that you know who you are, so that no one can sway you from that, you know?
Speaking more on social media, as of today, we know social media takes a big part in the music industry, but looking on the other side of social media, there can also be followers and fans that take a toll on your music career. And what would you say about social media today? How can I put it? Would you think it's a good way to express your career, or do you think it should just be without social media?
I think having social media now is fantastic because I get to interact immediately with my fans.
Right.
Years ago, they would send me a handwritten fan letter, and it would take me 3 to 6 months to get it. Now, the day I perform, before I get home, they're already commenting on what they thought about the show, or what I look like, or who I was talking to. So I think that part is really great because I can automatically connect with people right away. I think it's important to remind yourself that social media is not everything.
Yeah.
Social media is the best boost for your ego and approval, and it makes you feel great. But then when they disapprove of you, it is devastating. So you really have to understand that your fans are important, and at the same time, you're still living your life the way you want to live it. And the ones who approve of that will follow you, and the ones who don't, oh well. That's what you have to think about.
So wrapping this all together, for more information on
No Reason to Cry, when does it go until, and where can we get more information about it?
No Reason to Cry is playing at the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater on 47th Street in New York City. And the dates for August are August 15th through the 31st. And for more information, people can go to noreasontocry.com.
Do you have any final thoughts for us and the viewers we have on today?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I feel very comforted and supported to know that this generation has got it together. So just be yourself, love your life, love the people around you, don't take anything for granted, and when people say no to you, do the opposite. That's it.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate you being here.
Yes, we really do. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank Judy Torres and our co-hosts for joining us today, and you, the viewer, for tuning in. For more information, you can follow us on social media at BronxNet TV. Until next time, I'm Damien.